Eric Andreas, your guitar sage here, friends. I hope you're doing well. If you're in the Carolinas right now, we're thinking about you. Get the heck out of there. It's crazy town right now. That's a big one coming through. So, I know people get offended when people say thoughts and prayers, but thoughts and prayers get offended. Our thoughts are with you. It's a rough time. So, friends, welcome to the broadcast today. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to play beyond the 4th fret. And if you've looked at the PDF already that I've created for you, that you can find at the link that's in the description of the video, both on Facebook and YouTube, then you'll know, if you've read that first page there, that back in the day, now listen out to me for just a moment, back in the day, a lot of folks didn't know how to play beyond the 4th fret. I heard Paul McCartney talk about it in an interview, I think, where he and John were going over to see somebody in Liverpool that could play beyond the 4th fret. This guy was playing in a club or whatever, and it was a big deal. And so that got me thinking about this concept, because when I was a kid, I was playing past the 4th fret immediately just because of the music that I was playing, that I was listening to. But you gotta remember, number one, if you're a campfire style guitar player, right, doing a lot of open chords and that sort of thing, and you're learning those basic chords like I talk about, the 9 essential chords, those sorts of bits, you're learning those first. So why would you play beyond that 4th fret? And one would have to know how to do that. So if you've been shown those open chords, sometimes you can get trapped in there, okay? So my question for you is, have you ever wanted to play beyond that 4th fret? Have you ever wanted to know what you're doing as well further up the fretboard as you would be able to in this open position? What we mean by open position are these chords that sound something like this. C, G, D, that sort of thing, okay? So if you're familiar with that sound, that's what we're talking about, open chords. A minor, C, D, D minor, E major, E minor, those sorts of bits. But actually knowing how to play up the fretboard further is what we're going to be talking about today. And it's so stupidly simple, you are going to kick yourself that you did not do this earlier. I promise, okay? I got the PDF for you. I'm going to be showing you some PDFs. We're really trying to bring up our production value for you, my friends, because we want you to be able to get this stuff and get it quickly. So even if you're watching on Instagram, let's say, and you can't download the PDF, you're gonna see the pictures because I'm gonna be showing them to you today. Okay, so this is part 1 of a 2-part series. Today we're gonna be talking some bits and pieces till probably, I don't know, 11:40ish or something like that, and then we'll be going into question and answers. We'll be doing a giveaway as well for anybody that shares this. I'll talk to you about that in a minute. And then tomorrow we're going to do the part 2 of this, okay? So we're building some concepts here. Tomorrow we're going to do the part 2 of it. Again, probably 40 minutes-ish. Q&A. I'll be doing another lifetime membership giveaway. So when you talk about lifetime membership giveaway, Eric, I'm talking about membership to UGS, the Unstoppable Guitar System /365, nearly 1,000 videos, nearly 600 jam tracks, constantly growing. In fact, I just uploaded a whole new series that I need to be making live today. So a massive amount of information for you in step-by-step format. I'm going to be giving one of those away to somebody who shares this today, okay? Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Google, circles, all that stuff. Does that even exist anymore? I don't know. Things change so quickly. But nonetheless, if you share it, we're going to be looking after the broadcast, and you can see it. The folks that we award after these broadcasts, you can see them. We post them. Sometimes we're very, very, very busy here, so we try to post it too to let folks know, hey, this is who won. We're not kidding around. We're giving stuff away. Okay, lots of chatting happening over in at YouTube, and lots of chatting happening over here in Facebook. All right, so let's get straight to the question. Let's get straight to the PDF, my friends, okay? And let me show you just basically what it is that we're going to be talking about. So I'm literally going to show you the PDF here, and we can discuss this, okay? Okay, and then later on I'm going to be bringing up some actual JPEGs and that sort of thing. So Chris, if we can, let's just look at this PDF for just a minute, and I'm going to show you how to look over this for the next 2 days, okay? Yes, I'm so sorry. I need to have that open up here. Apologize. We're doing some new stuff here today as well, friends. So, okay. Here we go. So you can see me in the corner there. And, okay, so here's the deal. Play past the 4th fret. We're doing today and tomorrow, right? By the way, if you are wanting to check out UGS, you can click that link right there, and you'll get $1 access, 30 days, unlimited access to the entire Unstoppable guitar system. You can read this over later. This is the first page here that'll give you an idea as to why I came up with this concept. A lot of folks, they're in that position. They're in that 4th position. Some of you are not. But even those folks that are not, you're going to get a lot from this, I promise you, because I've had guitar players that have been playing for a long time that I show this bit to them and they go, what is going on? Like, that's amazing, okay? So it doesn't really matter how long you've been playing. If these concepts have not been shown to you, you don't know them, okay? Unless you learn them through osmosis, which you can do that as well. That's how I learned them, by just looking at the neck and focusing and tearing it apart and writing things down and just kind of looking at the neck going, hey, well, that pattern should equal this, that, the other thing, okay? Sorry, I'm adjusting my microphone here. We did a live shoot yesterday, which you might have seen on Instagram. I'll tell you more about that one later as well. Okay, so you're gonna go through that first page. This where the notes fall on the fretboard. I'm giving that to you as information because you really need to know this stuff, and you'll see this in a lot of the PDFs that I create, because it's like that information that you need to piggyback on the information that I'm giving you in the broadcast, okay? So I'm not going to discuss it with you because we've been over it 100 times, but if you need it, it's there for you, okay? So same thing with diatonic harmony. I include that in there because it's absolutely so important. The stuff that we're going to be getting to straight away are these springboards, okay? Let me just tell you in a nutshell the 3 things that we're going to be covering today. Springboards. If you will, a springboard, right? If you jump on a springboard, it gets you to someplace quicker, right? Hopefully in the air, hopefully into some water if you're jumping into a pool. But a springboard, you jump on it, boom, right? It's like a boost. And that's essentially what my definition of what these little tricks that I'm about to show you are. So we have stationary springboards and we have movable springboards. So let me go over this. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll go over it in a minute when you can see me better. But essentially we're going to be looking at this diagram that's basically talking about you got to know your open notes. If you don't know your open notes, there's some basics that you just have to know. You can say, hey, Eric, I don't want to know that. Okay, you can do that. You're not going to get the stuff that you want to get on guitar. You're not going to move forward like you want to get. Like you want to do, okay? So it's important that when I say to learn something, I'm not going to tell you to learn something that you're not going to use. All this stuff you're going to use massively. And if you don't learn it, that's okay, but then you can't complain later that you can't do something, okay? You got to learn this stuff. It's very simple. You got to know your open notes, okay? These are concepts that a lot of you know, some of you do not know them, so we're going to cover them really quickly. So you see these open notes right here. We're going to drill down later into this more. You should know those, and you should also know that right here at the 12th fret, it's our second springboard, okay? That's basically the duplicate, E, A, D, G, B, E, same thing as this area here, E, A, D, G, B, E. Anything on the guitar duplicates at the 12th fret, and anything that you do at any other fret, if you just add 12 to it, you can come up to that fret, and it will be 1 octave higher. For instance, if I play a C chord, I can take that C chord and move it up 12 frets, and I get the same chord. Same thing with A minor chord, A minor chord. It doesn't matter. Whatever you do in the lower position, if you add 12 to each one of those different frets, it's super simple, or just take that form and move it up 12 frets. You'll get the same exact thing. So that's what we see here in this springboard 2. Okay, we'll drill down with this later. This is about tuning, and then you'll see the octave further up. I'm going to drill down with this later on. This right here is what I call the lightning bolt pattern. I also call it 1-4-5, or the octave pattern. We're going to drill down into that. And ultimately today we're going to get to this bit right here. May look very confusing. I promise you, once I reveal this to you, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, Eric's a genius. I didn't invent this stuff, okay? So it's not me being a genius. It's me just showing you stuff that's existed since the beginning of time. It's just maybe it hasn't been illustrated quite as clearly. And to me, that's everything, okay? Because the information, think about it, all information of everything, the cures for every disease and everything else, it's out there. Just haven't found them all yet, okay? So all that information, any bit of information that we want is out there. Same thing is true with guitar. It's just it needs to be either presented to us or we need to trip upon it and go, hey, information, look at that. That's going to help me. Tomorrow we're going to get to the cage system and beyond that, okay? But we're going to be just looking at those three things today, and then we're going to drill down tomorrow to some further stuff, okay? So right now, opening the PDF that you should be looking at. Instagram, folks, it's on YouTube and Facebook. Facebook and YouTube, folks, you know where that's in the link in the description of the video. So click on that little bit. Should probably say something about a PDF. Or here's the PDF, click here. Okay, so without further ado, what we're going to do is we're going to go straight to understanding this little guy right here, okay? So notice these notes right here at the far end, right? You see that? That is the E, A, D, G, B, E. Those are our open notes on the guitar. E, A, D, G, B, E. If you just strummed from the lowest note to the highest note. And then right here where we see the 2, this guy right here, that springboard, that's 1 octave up. So literally if I bar at the 12th fret, I have E, A, D, G, B, E. No big deal, right? Then we see this number 3, if you will, right? This guy right here. And now notice this. You see the arrows pointing to other, like you see the A and it's pointing to another A, and the D is pointing to another D, G is pointing to another G, the B, the E, and of course the A doesn't have another string to go to, so it's just sitting there alone, okay? So what's the deal with that, Eric? Well, here's the deal. You can tune the guitar to itself. You've probably seen a video where I've done this, where basically you can pluck the 5th string on the E or the 5th fret of the E string, and that should be an A, and then you can see that arrow pointing to the other A. Those two are unison notes. They should be in tune. If your guitar's in tune, then those 2 notes will sound the same. Now going to the 5th fret of the 5th string, you can see a D. You're looking at that diagram right here, right? So springboard 3, go straight up from that number, you're going to see A, which we just did, and above that you're going to see letter D. So I'm playing the 5th fret of the 5th string, it's D. So there's another D on the 4th string, right? This is how us guitar players tune the guitar if we don't have a tuner. We need it to be in tune with itself. So this is great if you're just playing a solo guitar and you got 1 string out or something like that. You don't want to get your tuner. You can do this very quickly, okay? And so on and so forth. I won't do the whole thing, but you see the G, which is the 5th fret of the D string, will coincide with the open G. And then if I go to the 4th string, so this one changes. We don't need to know why right now. Just suffice to say, the guitar was tuned like this hundreds and hundreds of years ago to make bar chords and other chords and scales work out so much easier with that note being backwards 1. Let's just say that, okay? I know some folks would probably like to have that even. Don't do that. Don't tune your guitar to that unless you have a real specific reason why. But don't think that you're going to outsmart the last few hundred years and few million guitar players that said, hey, this is awesome, okay? It's not going to happen, okay? You can try it, but it's going to be very confusing and your chords are going to be all mucked up. So don't do it. So that B string is back a half step. So we have to bring the 4th fret of the 3rd string, we have to bring it back a half step to that 4th fret, and that's a B. Then you got the open B. Go to the 5th fret of the 2nd string, you got an E, and that should coincide with the open E. Okay, and if we went to the 5th fret of that E string, we'd have an A. So if we had yet another string, we could do the same thing. Now, notice this. Do you see where we have that little bit there? If you know how to tune the guitar to itself, you have another springboard. Eric, why are you doing all this with us? You're killing us. Dude, I'm helping you. If you understand these things, we're going to take this little bit of information, we'll stack another little bit of information, another little bit of information, little bits. That's why we're breaking this up into 2 parts. And by the end of today, you're going to be like, my mind is blown. I actually understand the fretboard and can map it out completely. We're Google mapping this crap, okay? We got the little car running around. That's what we're doing. Okay, so you got the open position. You know the names of the strings. If not, you're going to learn them after the broadcast. The 2nd springboard is at the 12th fret. Boom, you got that. Number 3 is this tuning method, okay? If you don't know it, you can check it out in the free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30. The link for that's probably in the description of the video. If not, we'll post it at some point here, okay? It's real easy, my URL/30. Now, notice springboard number 4. Watch this. So easy, you just learn this concept. Anything we do in the lower part of the neck, if we just add 12 to it, we can go and play an octave up. So notice that this 4th springboard, right, that's right here, right, it says 4. Notice that it's the same thing as this, just 1 octave higher, 12 frets higher, okay? So literally, that's at the 15th fret, that A and D and G, right? Those are at the 15th fret, or I'm sorry, at the 5th fret, so we're adding 12 to it. So these guys over here, right, 12 plus 5 is 17, so this is the 17th fret. Easy enough, right? Okay, so that's 4 springboards there right now. Basically right now, you only need to understand the concept, but listen to me. Just understanding the concept one time is not going to integrate it into you. I hear people say all the time, oh yeah, I knew that, but then they don't use that information. So if they, yeah, I knew that, yeah, you just reminded me that I know that. Okay, but if you're not using it, you don't know it. Okay, in the same way that if you know that you're supposed to go to the gym or eat good food to get in shape, but you're not doing it, then you don't really know it, okay? Just because it's up here doesn't mean anything. You got to be doing it to really know it. When I was a kid, I'll tell the story really quickly. When I was a kid, we were learning vocabulary words. They would have us say that word over and over again in a sentence, 5 times-ish. I think it was 3 times. We'd have to put it in a sentence. Gregarious, right? That boy was so gregarious. He was happy. He was jovial. He was full of energy, right? If you use a word over and over again in a sentence, you will end up integrating it as a part of you. Same thing with guitar. If you don't integrate this and learn it a couple different ways and then start using it, like for instance, tuning your guitar, you're not going to memorize it, okay? So do it. So you've got those springboards, okay? Now, the next bit that I'm going to show you is another springboard, okay? Now, those other ones were stationary springboards. Stationary meaning they're sitting still. They're not moving any place. They just stay there. That is, if your guitar is tuned to standard tuning. If you tune it to any other tuning, it's going to change everything. And when I'm not covering that, okay? We would be a million different schisms that we would have to run off to, and I ain't got the time for that, right? So those are stationary springboards. What we're talking about now, these guys in the green, are movable springboards. So easy, mind blown. Watch this, okay? So if I were, what I want you to do is I want you to look at this this first one right here, okay? Notice there's a 1, okay? And notice that if you go down 2 strings, we mean down in proximity. So if you're looking at the guitar, you're going down, physically down to those other strings. You go down 2 strings, you go up 2 frets, because as we go up in pitch, right? That's called up the fretboard, not down the fretboard. Everybody calls it down. A lot of beginners do. It's not down. It's up the fretboard because we're going up in pitch. Okay. If you've been playing for a little while, everybody past that playing a little while will say up the fretboard, and the real beginners will say down the fretboard because they hadn't been told yet. So now you've been told. Now you're intermediate. Okay. So seriously, down 2 strings, up 2 frets. Now notice, okay, we can do that with this guy right here. Down 2 strings, up 2 frets. I'm going to show this to you on the guitar in a minute, okay? Now, I also want you to notice right here, this one, okay? Not the 3, but look at the 5 there, okay? Now, with that one, okay, you can go, same thing, down 2 strings, up 2 frets. So listen to me, because I'm going to show this to you in a couple different ways. You can do this starting from the 6th and 5th string, down 2, up 2. From the 6th string, any note, if you want to find its octave, down 2 strings, up 2 frets. Anything on the 6th string. Same thing with the 5th string. Anything on the 5th or 6th string. So if you're on the 5th string, pick a note. If you want to find its octave and your guitar's in tune, down 2 strings, up 2 frets. Every single time on every single guitar that's standard tuning since the beginning of time to the end of time, amen. There's no exceptions, okay? That's just the way it is. It's the construct, okay? if you're starting on the 4th or 3rd string, I want you to notice here, I want you to notice, okay, number 2. This guy, number 2, and this guy, number 6. Okay, that guy right there. Those two, because the 1 is starting on the 3rd string, or the 2 example is starting on the 3rd string, and the 6 is starting on the 4th string. Here's what you do for strings 4 and 3. It's a slightly different rule. You ready? Slightly different. Down 2 strings, up 3 frets. I'll say it again. If you're starting on the 4th string, any note that you play, if you want to play up an octave, you go down 2 strings, up 3 frets. Try it right now with your guitar if you don't believe me. Okay? If it doesn't sound right, then you're not doing it right or your guitar's not in tune. Because I promise you, I've only done this a few thousand times. It's in a lot of books. So if it's wrong now, then I'm in trouble, okay? So now you can do the same thing with a 3rd string. Play any note, go down 2 strings and up 3 frets, you'll find it's octave. If it doesn't sound right, your guitar's not in tune or you're not doing it right, okay? Now, what about these, Eric? Why is that so important? Well, again, if we're wanting to play further up the neck, we gotta know what to do here, okay? We have to know how to play further up the neck. So in order to do that, we need to piggyback off of what we already know. And we know a lot already, okay? You know this, all the stuff in the open position. We learned that we can play that stuff further up the neck. The first 2 chapters of this PDF, the one that you can find at Facebook and YouTube, right in the description of the video there, we're taking information that you know already, but the first 2 chapters will teach you how to know the notes across the fretboard, especially on strings 6 and 5, because if you know those 2, you can easily use this movable springboard method to find all the other notes very, very, very quickly. Each puzzle piece that you add, the picture starts becoming very, very clear, okay? So let me show you what I mean here in kind of a close-up view. So here I said that if we use this movable springboard, right? Here's a G. Here's a G, right? 6th string. So to find its octave, I go down 2 strings, up 2 frets, that's a G. We can do this same thing on the 5th string. So I'm going to go to another G. Here's a G. That's at the 5th. That's a 5th string, okay? Now, if I go down 2 strings, so now I'm on the 5th string, I'm going to go 4, 3, 3rd string, and I'm at the 10th fret, I'm going to go up 2 frets, 1, 2, that's a G, so, right? You might have seen some pros do this before, like, right? That's a famous little lick. From Purple Haze, right? So that's what Jimmy was doing. He's doing this. That's how we find our octave. So it just moves along together. Now we can do the same thing on the 4th and 3rd string. So here's our 4th string. It's a G as well. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down 2 strings. I'm on the 4th string, by the way. So I'm going to go down 3, 2, and up 3 frets. 1, 2, 3. There's my pinky. And there is a G. So here's a G. And I have an exercise. I get this question daily in 365 for folks that are just playing this octave exercise for the first time. They say, well, how do I mute that? Well, you mute it. Just think common sense here. This finger is touching that string. This finger is touching this string. And this one, we don't want it to sound. So you could either use the tip of this finger or you could use the pad of this first finger to mute that note. But nonetheless, we're not talking about that today. We're just talking about these patterns, okay? So again, with this one, you can... Okay? Same thing. That's a movable springboard, okay? How are we doing on time? I think we're doing good, right? Let's look here. I can't even tell. Yeah, okay, we're doing good. We've got about 10 minutes before we start into some questions. If you haven't already, my friends, share this. And if you haven't already, grab that PDF. Folks on Instagram, go to Facebook and YouTube if you can, because we'll be doing live Q&A here in just a moment. So please make sure that you download the PDF, because it's essential with everything that we're doing today, okay? Okay, so the last one that I want to show you is this. Look at this. Ooh, this is fancy. Now, if you notice in the PDF, what this is a blues scale with highlighted roots. Okay, key of A minor. But that part really doesn't matter, because this works for any single scale. Okay, it doesn't have to be the minor scale or major scale. It could be any. It could be pentatonic, it could be blues, it could be Mixolydian. Yeah, that's Nickelodeon. Mixolydian, okay? It could be Dorian, it can be Phrygian, it could be any one of the modes. Does not matter. The point, what I'm wanting to show you here is these green boxes, okay? So if you ever heard someone say the 1-4-5 of 1-4-5 chord progression, or they're talking about numbers when they're talking chords, like a 1, 4, 5, like that famous chord progression, right? Well, this is what we're using, we're using these little patterns, okay? So what I want you to notice here is this. Notice that if we were to let's look at this first box right underneath this finger. Let's go all the way to the bottom there, right? You see the 1-4-5, right? Now look at the green box that's right next to it, this one. Look at it, 1-4-5, okay? Notice this. Notice the 1 and the 1 on those two boxes, right? Does it look an awful lot like the movable springboard that we just learned? It sure does, Eric. You know why? 'Cause it is, okay? You guys are smart, okay? I'm watching you. You guys are smart. You're the head of the class. Now, notice that if we do this, let's see, do we have another one? Not for this example. Okay, so let's do this. So now notice box 2, this one right here, that's not labeled box 2, but it's this one right underneath this finger. Notice the 1-4-5, right? Got it? Cool. Now notice this. And by the way, Instagram, you're not seeing any of this. You should be over on Facebook and YouTube if you can, because you're not seeing any of that, right? So notice box 2, right? This guy right here. You see the 1-4-5. And then notice in this one, the box 3, you got the 1-4-5 again, looks just like it. And now notice the 1 and the 1 of both those two boxes. Notice, in order for us to get to that higher 1 that's in this box, we go down 2 strings and up 3 frets. Looks an awful lot like that springboard that we just learned for the 4th and 3rd strings, doesn't it, right? Sure it does. You know why? 'Cause it is. It's the same exact thing. Now what's really cool about this is that you can literally, wherever you see that 1-4-5, you can play the same exact lick all over the place. So here I am. I'm going to play, literally, I'm going to play that 1-4-5 in each one of these boxes that you see. And I'm going to be starting from the far left one and working my way up. So watch this. Here we go. Here's 1-4-5. And here we are doing the next 1-4-5. This is this next box, and we'll be proceeding that way. So here's 1-4-5, and here's the next 1-4-5. Pretty cool. And then here's another 1-4-5. That's the next one, and then this other one, and this one. Well, I can't play them because I don't have enough frets on my guitar. But nonetheless, now why is that important, Eric? Why are you showing us this? Well, here's why. Because if you know where that 1-4-5 is at all times, it will allow you. So I put up a controversial video. I say controversial because people argue on videos all the time. Doesn't matter what you're talking about. And so nonetheless, I teach the 1-4-5, or no, I say you're playing your scales wrong, because essentially folks will play their scales. I said you're practicing your scales wrong, when really, that's fine. We want to practice that a little bit, but eventually we need to create some phrases out of it. Well, in order to create some phrases out of it, we need to know more than just notes. We need to know what the notes mean to some extent, because whatever chord's being played, it might like a particular note more than another. Not even it might, it's gonna particularly like one note more than another. Just like pairings of wine and certain foods, or coffee and certain foods, or desserts and certain foods, or matching colors and what have you. Music's the same. Okay, we've got notes that want to be with chords and chords that want to be with notes. It's very passionate. It's a passionate relationship. Okay, so in the same way here, if we know where this 1 4 5 is at all times, then what it allows us to do is it allows us to noodle around with some stuff. In fact, at the beginning here, I have this little chord progression, right? Let's see. Now, I'm going to turn that down just a little bit. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, this so happens to be an A minor. Okay, and so I've got this A minor chord progression, a G, an F, and an E. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play that 1 4 5, and you're going to see that I can hop around and play the same exact notes all over the neck. So watch this. Now that's not very exciting. Whoop-de-doo-doo, Eric, you're not playing a guitar solo. But here's the point, is that you can understand that you don't even need to have a theoretical knowledge of the guitar in the names of the notes. Because here, we're saying 1 4 5. This could be in any key, and the pattern's going to be the same thing. If we were doing this in G, everything that you're seeing right there, right? Everything that you're seeing right here would just be shifted down 2 whole steps. If it were in the key of B, it would be shifted up 2 whole frets. Everything moves together. The guitar is actually pretty easy if you learn these tricks. I promise you, okay? So what that does is when I'm soloing, or I'm thinking about guitar in any way, I'm seeing these shapes. They just pop out all the time, okay? Why? Because I kind of found them on my own, had other guitar teachers and books and what have you, just all the knowledge. I don't know where I got everything, just through osmosis over time. And so what happens is these patterns start appearing more and more, and then you can start using them. Once you start using them, then it becomes really a part of you, and you can become really, really good at this stuff, okay? So let's talk about what we covered here in a minute, because we're going to go straight to some questions here in just a momento, okay? First off, we got to know our basic springboards, okay? These are the ones in our open position, 12th fret, or 0 fret, or open position, the 12th fret, okay? Then at the 5th fret /4, because we got that pesky B note that wants to do its own thing. And we have 12 frets up from that at the 17th/16th fret. Thanks, B. Okay, so we got that. Understand? Good, good. And then what we did is we said, okay, we got movable springboards. These are where we can find our octaves, okay? And if we can find our octaves all the time, that's the first step, because knowing where your octave, when we complete a phrase, we typically end on the octave or the tonic. Those are all A's. Okay, and it's important to know where those are at all times, and that's the logic that I'm using for this guy, right? And then once we know where the 1s and the 4s are, well then our 4, look, 'cause our 4 is always underneath our 5. Pretty cool, right? Now, there is a caveat to that, and that's that pesky B string. And you can look, you can see, where is it? Right here, you can see where the 1 is at on the 3rd string down here. And then you can see where the 4 is actually on this string. It's because that B string is a little wonky, okay? So I specifically didn't show you that so as to not confuse you. What we want to do is we want to just grab these patterns that are easily accessible. Once you are comfortable with that stuff, okay, don't go down the rabbit trail of, oh, well, hold on, look, we got to learn some really complex stuff. Don't do that to yourself. Anytime on guitar, if you want to make things easy and fun and move ahead and be a great guitar player, don't confuse things. Make them simple. There's no award. There's no brownie points. There's no medal for making things complex and sucking as a guitar player. Lots and lots of rewards and lots of good stuff for making stuff super simple and being a great guitar player, okay? No one cares how complex you can get if you suck at the guitar. And people don't even care how simple-minded you are if you can do well on the guitar, okay? At least when you're talking about playing music. It's all about music. Really understand that, because sometimes the questions that I get, folks are getting too tied up with those bits and pieces that really don't matter. People want to hear beautiful music from you, bottom line. That's all they care about, okay? At least in regards to being a musician and an artist, okay? Good stuff. All right, friends. We're gonna get to Q&As here, because let me show you this here really quickly, because tomorrow what we're gonna do is we're gonna get to the caged system. The caged system is a way to play your chords all across the neck. So if I want to play a C chord here, I can, or I can play it here, or I can play it here, or I can play it here, or I play it here, or I can play it here, or I can play it here, or here. I mean, there's so many different places you could play. And that's using what's called the caged system, okay? Essentially, we're using C, A, G, E, and D, open major guitar forms. So we're taking the form of the chord, but we're playing it further up the neck as it coincides with our tonic, our root, our chord root. So it allows us to play the same chord all over the neck, but in different voicings, okay? People say, well, no, this is C chord that plays like this, Eric. You're playing it wrong. Those are folks that have just learned how to play guitar, and they think that there's only one way to play a chord. There's so many different ways to play a chord. I mean, if you show me one chord, I could probably show you 12 different ways to play it every single time. And I don't have them memorized. I'm just using patterns and very little bit of math. Take it from a guy that took algebra 5 times in college. You don't need to know a lot of math, okay? So that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow, is this cage system, and then about practicing with the cage system, and then how understanding the cage system will allow you to use your capo so that you can play further up the fretboard, and will allow you to build bar chords and have a whole understanding for that, okay? So that's all in the PDF. For those of you that are like, what's he scrolling through here? I'm scrolling through the PDF that I'm giving you that's in the description of the video on Facebook and YouTube, right? Instagram folks, you know what I'm talking about. Head over to Facebook and YouTube, because this is the deal. Right now, I'm going to go straight over to Facebook. We're going to start with questions there. I'm going to go all the way to the beginning of that thread, because it's smaller than YouTube's. And then I'll bump over to YouTube in a minute. Friends, please leave a question mark. If I don't see a question mark, I'm skipping right over it, because I'm looking at hundreds of comments. Use a question mark. Thank you so much, okay? So I'm going to scroll through this real quickly on Facebook, then I'll head over to YouTube. If you haven't already, share this, my friends. It's a chance to win a $400 course. We do this at least twice a week. Last week we did it 3 times. And our big live broadcast, this last one, we gave away 11, okay? That was nearly $5,000 worth of courses. Why? Because we love to teach guitar. We love to get you up and playing guitar. So do that. And we just love sharing the love. There's a lot of gratitude in the studio. Isn't there, Chris? Yep. See? Chris knows what I'm talking about. So, okay, so here we go. Aloha from Maui, the only place that I've been in Hawaii, and it's absolutely beautiful. Was it Maui? I think so. Where surfing was invented. I was on that beach. I surfed that beach. Oh, it was beautiful. It was so beautiful. I only caught like one wave though, because I wasn't used to surfing that beach. I'm used to waves crashing quicker. Sorry. Okay, so looking through Facebook. I do not see any questions so far. Yes, I do. I am. Yes, well, here's the deal. So let me tell you real quickly. My daughter has a great. So somebody said, "Police, every breath you take." I hope you get to play that. Jude is saying. Here's the deal. My daughter called me yesterday and she said, "Will you play a gig with me?" Aw, my daughter's like 21 years old. They don't want any old guys on stage, but my daughter's so cool. She's like, we're all these young guys, young kids, but we want this old guy on stage. That's me. So I thought that was really sweet that she wants me to play. So I'm going to be playing a show with her, I think, on October the 28th, and we're doing a bunch of 80s stuff, including Every Breath You Take and just a bunch of really cool stuff. Everybody Wants to Rule the World. Girls Just Want to Have Fun. What's Up? Okay, can you show that again without the PDF in the way? Jim, you'll have to be more specific, my friend. I showed a lot of stuff, but I think I did show it with that, the 145 thing. I did that, right? Do the Cage system and minimalistic blues use the same patterns? Fiona's asking. Fiona, all the patterns are the same. The Cage system, you're not going to really take the Cage system. Like if you learn the Cage system inside and out, will it help with minimalistic blues? Kind of, not really. I mean, the patterns are the same, but minimalistic blues is more taking a small portion of the bigger picture and getting really, really good at a very, very small portion. That's why it's called minimalistic blues, because you're taking a small little place, like maybe 4 frets, using some bends, and just getting really good at one little section like that. Because if you can't speak your mind using simple baby words, what makes you think that going and getting a dictionary with all these big boy words, big boy and girl words, is going to help you sound more eloquent, right? It's not. So if you can explain stuff, especially in baby terms, a lot of people, they get caught up on wanting much bigger vocabulary words, which I'm a big fan of vocabulary words. I love it because you can have a word that explains things better than a smaller word. But nonetheless, if you can't explain it with simple small words, you probably don't know it too well, okay? An expert told me that once. Okay, so the Cage system, yes, the same patterns, but with minimalistic blues, we're thinking in very small bits of information, okay? And here you go. For Jim, I'm going to just show that 145 very quickly here, just so you kind of have an idea here. So we said that here's the 1. Watch, here's the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. This is how we find the scale. It's the major scale. Anybody who doesn't know that scale means you have not been through my free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30. Friends, dear Lord, if you haven't gone through this course already and you're watching this video, you need to get in there like pronto. It's free, okay? So it's going to teach you all the basics that you need to know, and it's going to help so much, okay? So here's the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Okay, I've got PDFs and everything for you in that course. But here's the 1. 2, 3, here's the 4, right underneath the 1, and here's the 5, one whole step above the 4. So here's the 1, here's the 4, here's the 5. If we base chords off that, we can play like 700,000 cowboy tunes. We can also play rock tunes like... Now somebody out there saying, Eric, that's in the wrong key. Oh, you're right. It's in the key of E. So let's do this. Let's move that same pattern down one whole, or not one whole step. Let's do it to the open E here. But I want to play it in G, Eric. Okay. I want to play it in A, Eric. It's the same every time, okay? Notice 1, 4, 5. Here's 1, 4, 5 in the key of B. 1, 4, 5. Here's 1, 4, 5 in the key of C. 1, 4, 5. And if we know where the 1, the 4, and the 5 is at all times, we're only one note away from every other scale degree. So you can create your chords, right? Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, which is how the major scale goes. So does that make sense? So, all right, good, good, good. All right, here we go. I'm going to get to some questions here on YouTube, and that's what I'm going to do, okay? Okay, I play a ton of guitar, but I'm really only good at chords. I want to learn how to shred and play some cool solos, but I just don't know where to start. I know the pentatonic scale, if that helps. Jay, the place to start, I know it sounds like I'm pitching something, but I'm giving you a free course. I'm not making any money in it. The place to start is to start on that free course, because it's going to show you some of these patterns, and you're literally creating a foundation upon everything else that you're building. So start with that, okay? Then if you want to get into it more, there's lots of things you can do. You can get into UGS for $1 and hang out there for a month and literally use everything that I've got there for you. I've got 1,000 videos on YouTube. Get good at typing and saying something like YourGuitarSage major scale, YourGuitarSage blues, YourGuitarSage scales, YourGuitarSage Elvis, like whatever you're looking for, it's there. So get good at typing, and then I can help you with all of that. But bottom line, it's playing and delving into different videos, more videos, and I've got all that stuff for you. Okay. How about phrasing? Where to start with that? We're talking about it right now. We're talking about that phrasing. So, like, if you don't know where the notes are on the fretboard, like if you can know the scale, right? But this is what a lot of people do: is they learn a scale and then they take a chord progression like this and they play like this. They go like this. Playing through a scale, because it doesn't help until we phrase. So just like if we had a dictionary, we were just saying stuff out of a dictionary in a real monotone, or we were just reciting something in a real monotone and not changing our volume or our pitch or anything like that, it would get really boring. So it's really important for us to talk in pitches and pauses and this, that, and the other thing. And those are phrases. So how to do it? Start with minimalistic blues. Anybody who's trying to phrase, okay? Larry, who was it that asked it as well? Jay. On YouTube, if you would like a sampling of what I teach inside the Unstoppable, if you're not, prepared to pull the trigger on $1 access to get into Unstoppable, if that's too much for you, then on YouTube type in minimalistic blues. Okay, and I have a video for you that will talk about this specifically. You got to learn a very small part of the neck first. Okay. If you don't learn that small part of the neck, you're not going to learn everything else. It just doesn't work that way, okay? And I promise you, this is a much easier way than trying to learn it all at once. You could try that way, and eventually you might get it if you spend enough hours doing it, but you're not going to feel very, very much momentum moving forward. And momentum, if you don't know, is that thing that motivates us, that makes us go, hey, this is fun, I'm rocking. Think about going to the gym, and you're working out for a year, and every time you look in the mirror you don't see anything different, you don't feel any different. It's not going to be very inspiring to go to the gym. But if you work super hard one day and you're like, man, my pecs are swollen up, man, that looks good, and the next day you're like, work on your biceps, now your biceps are bigger, right? And you can feel that bit, okay? So that's what we want. We want to feel that momentum. Is there specific phrasing for the different genres? Larry is saying. Yeah, Larry, kind of there is. I mean, essentially, you're still phrasing, but all the different genres have different bits and pieces to it. Like in jazz, they don't bend as many notes as, say, blues guitar or rock guitar. Rock guitar typically plays things a little bit faster. Blues tends to stick to the blues scale more. Jazz tends to use more modes and playing on top of the chord. A lot of staccato notes, a lot of darker tones like this. That sort of thing, okay? As opposed to blues, which the tone's a little bit different, it's a little bit grittier. So there's all sorts of bends and double stops and that sort of thing. So yes, different for sure for the different genres, yes. Since you're playing in regular tuning and I'm a half step down, should I play everything in the PDF the same one half step up? Celeste is saying. Celeste, if you want it to be in tune, you know what I mean? Yes. So if you're playing in A minor and you're playing with a band that's in A minor, then yeah, you better be playing everything up a half step to be playing in the key of A minor if you're playing an A minor song. So if you play everything that your other guitar player is playing and your guitar's tuned down a half step, you'll be playing in A flat minor, okay? Also known as G sharp minor. Are you giving the viewers of your amazing live class a discount on your courses? I do. We don't do it every single time because we go live like 10 times a month. So that would be a little bit obnoxious, right? But we do discounts. In fact, I believe, hey, Chris, when's our big live broadcast? Do you know off the top of your head? Chris will let us know. 29th, yeah. So on the 29th of this month, in fact, I'm probably going to do it today. I'm going to go get the next guitar, and I'm going to go to Groon, and I have a guitar in my mind that I want to get. So hopefully if it's still there, I'm going to be getting that today. We'll film it and let you guys know all about that. But on the 29th, my friend, we're going to be giving away, well, this last broadcast we gave away I think it was either $5,000 or $6,000 worth of goodies. We gave away live broadcasts, and we gave away guitars and amps, pedals, the whole 9 yards. So we gave away a ton of stuff, and we did a really deep discount of UGS. So CKC 411, no discount today, but I am giving you a free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30, the first 30 lessons. If you haven't watched, don't worry about the big stuff if you haven't done the little stuff first, right? There's a proverb that goes along with that. Those that are responsible with the little stuff gets awarded the big stuff. Those that are not responsible with the little things will not be rewarded with big things. That is a truism in life. If you can't do the little stuff, you ain't gonna get the big stuff. So I'm giving you the free course today, YourGuitarSage.com/30. And for those that have been through that already, then my friend, if you want to really dig into the unstoppable guitar system and you don't want to be part of it, or you kind of want to try it out, you've got the dollar offer, YourGuitarSage.com/1. Okay, how to play and sing. 2 different places you can find this. For free on YouTube. I have one video on this, I'm pretty sure, that's pretty thorough, and then I have a whole course inside of this super course that I'm telling you about, UGS. So both those places, you can find it by typing, okay? Got to get good with the typing, YourGuitarSage sing, or YourGuitarSage play and sing, okay? And I'll go over that with you because it's really lengthy. Now listen, friends, sometimes in a broadcast like this, I cannot thoroughly, here's the deal, if I were to thoroughly answer that question, it would take as long as that video is, or longer, because I prepped it and was in the mindset of that, and the video's out there already, okay? So in order to answer Jay's question and everybody else who's answering, to be fair to everybody, sometimes I'm going to refer you to a video that I've done already. Is that fair enough? Because you wouldn't want me to teach for 20 minutes if you're not interested in playing and singing, because Jay asked that. Cool? All right. That reminds me of Miami Vice music. Will the Cage system help me play the other chord voicings instantly, or do you have to know where each note is by name? You don't have to know where each note is by name, but you have to know how to assemble. You got to know the formula for it. But yes, the Cage system will help you with all these other chords. As I teach inside of UGS, I think I may have a video for it on YouTube, but it would be a much shorter video. So in that case, on YouTube, type in YourGuitarSage Caged. Okay, so yes, to know, like for instance, the 7th chords, you would need to know the formula for a 7th chord, and I teach that. Okay, so it's not going to let you know them instantaneously. How to understand note and scales. Start at the free course, Netra, and start by knowing the PDF that I've given to you today. That is the place to really truly understand notes. Okay, and in regards to scales, it's going to really help with that as well. Okay, on YouTube, type in YourGuitarSage Scales or YourGuitarSage Major. Okay, how does this fit with the circle of fifths? Daniel's saying. Daniel has everything to do with the circle of fifths, in that if you play the scale, here's a G. If we go to the 5th, which we said is down 1 string, up 2 frets. Okay, check this out. So if we want to go through the circle of fifths without even knowing the circle of fifths, without even knowing the notes, we could do this by just using our ear. Watch this. Here's a 1. Here is the 5. We're going to go 5th up from that. We're going to go down a string, up 2 frets. We're going to go down a string, up 2 frets. Okay, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that is how you literally can use the circle of fifths just like that. Make sense? Great. Man, you guys have some really good questions today and quite prolific, so thank you. Is there any consistently patterns that comes with playing arpeggio chords? So Ty, an arpeggio is a chord just broken up. That's an arpeggio, but it's also a chord, right? I'm just breaking it up. So I have lots of videos on arpeggios, a ton in the course. And if you're in the course already, just type in arpeggios and you're going to see sweep arpeggios and the whole 9 yards. On YouTube, YourGuitarSage arpeggio. But you're saying, are there any consistent patterns? If you have a chord, that is your pattern. So for instance, if someone says take an A minor chord and play an arpeggio, well, I could come up here and play the chord, or I could play the arpeggio, like what you would think of as a sweep arpeggio. Now I'm throwing in a couple other notes there just so you can hear it. Cool? All right, good, good. I have a bunch of songs I want to learn. How is learning all this fretting going to help with learning songs? Nancy's saying. Nancy, it's kind of like this. It's kind of like you're saying, I'm going to go travel the United States. How will learning how to read a map help? Because, Nancy, knowing where you're at on the map is pretty important. And then knowing where you want to go is pretty important. And then knowing how to get there is uber important. So essentially, what we're doing here, Nancy, is we're learning the map of the fretboard. We're saying, okay, if you know where the A is at, then you can always know where that A is at. And know where that A is at. And that A is at, okay? Either by using your ear or using these patterns that I'm showing you. Using my ear there, right? So you can find these very, very quickly. That's how it's going to help you. One's amount of information that they can memorize goes up. I find this all the time. Back in the day, I'd learn the smallest little lick, and it was hard for me to memorize. Now I look at tab one time, I play through it. In fact, because there's so many different ways to play Every Breath You Take, and because I think he's tuned down a half step, but nonetheless, there's so many different interpretations of it. I watched Andy Summers playing it live, and then I'm like, okay, I know where he's at on the fretboard. Then I went to look at some tabs just to make things easier, and I literally was able to learn everything that's happening in the verses in the chorus in like a minute, because you start memorizing, you start having the ability to memorize things better because these patterns you're using to go, oh, well, that's just an octave. Oh, okay, well, he's doing a ninth chord there, and then that's a major ninth chord, and this one's a minor ninth chord. And then all of a sudden, all these things just start happening. It's not going to happen overnight. You've got to immerse yourself in it, right? But the more you do, the better you're going to get. Okay, can you walk me through the thought process when you're writing a song? Yeah, I can tell you how I do it. I can tell you how my wife does it. And we'll go very quickly on this because we have a songwriting book that's going to be coming out soon. In fact, we just recently hired on a new member to the team, Mike. And everybody say hi to Mike. You're gonna see him throughout broadcasts, and we're gonna be bringing him in. You're gonna see him every now and then on camera. Okay, he's camera shy, but we're gonna bring him in. But nonetheless, he's gonna be helping us out with that. So let's talk about writing a song. So there's different ways that you can do this. I can tell you how I do it. I always start with the music first, probably because that's the most important thing to me. There is no right way to write a song. There's just not. And trust me, I live in the songwriting capital of the world, and I'm friends with these top writers that are writing for everybody, and everybody's a little bit different. Now, Nashville does have a process, and I can tell you about that process in a minute. But for me, I'm so music heavy that I like lyrics, and I'm good with lyrics, and I can write lyrics and what have you. But if the music's not there, I don't care about the lyrics. That's why I listen to a lot of instrumental stuff. So for me, it has to start with the music. And for me, typically it starts with some sort of chord progression. If I have a nice moody chord progression, whether typically in a minor key for me, I like a lot of minor stuff, then I'm off, and I'm moved by that. And then I can typically write my melody, and then I'll typically come up with my lyrics. So that's my process. Or sometimes what I'll do is I'll write poetry because I'm inspired and just want to let stuff out of my soul of what I'm feeling. I haven't done this in a long time, but I'll write poetry. And then a lot of times that poetry will find itself into music because that's what song lyrics are. A lot of times they're just poems, but they've been pulled in. And I mean, same rhyme schemes and stuff, right? So a lot of times that happens. So usually I'll start with the music, and it's usually the chord progression, followed by some sort of melody and or chords and or lyrics and melody at the same time. That's how I do it. The way my wife does it, and a lot of Nashville songwriters do it, is, and this makes a little bit more sense from a commercial money-making standpoint, okay? My songs aren't making money. my wife's songs are making money because Lady Antebellum and Carrie Underwood and everybody else records her songs. So in order for her to stay in the business, she's got to write songs that people want to hear, okay? They're not going to want to hear my songs because my songs are moody and they're not very commercial. So with that being said, my wife will go in with an idea. So she had this idea, I think it was her, or maybe it was her co-writer, doesn't matter. It's the point of the story is that one of them came in with the idea, hey, guy walks into a bar. You know that joke, guy walks into a bar and da-da-da-da-da-da. They said, well, why don't we write a song that's more serious about a guy walking into a bar and he meets a girl and then they, have this great relationship and then they break up and he gets sad and then he goes into a bar and then he meets a girl. And it's like this little cycle. So they create this fun little cycle, and that's called the hook. And that's the title of the song, Guy Walks Into a Bar. And then what they did is they said, that's great, okay, here's some lyrics. And they start spitting out lyrics and what have you. And then they'll come up with the chord progression a lot easier, okay, because that's the way country music works. So a lot of times it starts with the idea first, or the title, and then what they call the hook, or the, like what's special about it. You know what I mean? Like if they just said, Guy Walks Into a Bar, okay, well, what about it? Like, I've got to develop the story some, and there has to be some substance to it. A lot of people will say, hey, I got this great idea for a song, and they'll just throw out a title. Well, that doesn't do anything. There's a million titles in the world. There has to be some more to it than just a title, okay? There has to be some construct to it for it to make any sense. So that's how they do it here in Nashville. Hopefully that helps. That helps you. I know how to read music, but do you teach how to notate music if you were trying to write a song? Okay, so indirectly I teach this. So like I teach you how to read tablature. That's in the free program, YourGuitarSage.com/30. Okay, I teach you how to understand musical notation. That's all you really need to do, unless for some reason you're trying to do musical notation and there's a real reason for you to do that. In that case, you could check out the book that I have written, or you could check out in the Unstoppable Guitar System, I teach how to read music as well. But I do have a book, it's called How to Read Music on YouTube. It was a bestseller on Amazon, okay? How is the Nashville number system different than the caged system? So Larry, remember, when we're talking about music, we're talking about all the same stuff. So really it all has to do with the same bits and pieces. The cage system, so we can use the cage system with the Nashville number system and vice versa. The Nashville number system, if you will, is a way of naming the chords according to the scale step as opposed to the letter name. So instead of saying G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. That's G major. And so why is that special? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Because if we're in the studio and they say, hey, I don't want the key of A, I want G, I want the key of A, then you can go, cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, and we don't have to think of the sharps and flats and notes and everything. We just change keys. We can do this with chords as well. So that's the advantage to the Nashville number system. More about that on YouTube. Search YourGuitarSage number system. Okay, tons of information about that inside of UGS. Okay, now with that being said, but the cage system teaches us to play chords all over the neck. And we can use those different forms inside of the Nashville number system, but two different things. But they do relate to each other, okay? Robert saying, I've been playing for 6 years by ear and become pretty well at it. Good. But I feel like I've hit a roadblock and I'm stuck in a box. Any suggestions to become more competent, learn theory and scales? Robert, yes. Again, I know it sounds like I'm selling something. I mean, we're all selling something. I mean, I do have big courses for you, but check out the free course, friend, because that is going to show you the stuff that you need to know. This is just math, basic math. It'd be like someone saying, man, I really want to learn calculus. Where should I start? Well, you better start with addition. If you don't know addition, you're not going to get to calculus. Okay, you got to learn the basics: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, fractions, and we're going to move up to calculus. But you got to know those basics first, Robert, and I don't know where you're at. Even though you've been playing great by ear, I did that for many years as well. I still didn't know what I was doing. Okay, I knew what I was doing by ear, but I couldn't label things. And those labels are helpful because then you can say to another musician, well, this is what I'm doing. Or you can duplicate what you did last time because now you know why it works. Whereas before, you're just kind of playing by ear. Okay, so that's where you want to start. Start with a free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30. I promise you, there's nothing else I would tell you to learn. Because if I say learn scales, you can learn scales, but it really isn't going to help you if you don't know how to apply those scales. Learn theory? Yes, indeed, learn theory, but learn it in the order you should learn it, because there's a million things you should not learn ever, or probably ever, and then there's a ton of stuff everybody should know, and you should learn them in steps. You know, you should learn A before B and B before C, and that's exactly how I teach inside my courses. Check it out. Check out the free system, or if you're in that already, then check out the dollar bit, okay? But that's going to help you, Robert, with understanding the fretboard and moving around, and all that mental stuff, all that ear stuff is going to start you're going to go, oh, that's why that works. And when you take, you know, it's a exponential thing. When you take a great ear and then you start adding theory to it, it's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's 1 or 10 times 100, you know, equals 1,000. It becomes an exponential thing. And as you get better with your ear and you start getting better with theory, it just becomes an exponential thing. It's not an addition thing, okay? You just start getting into these levels that you're surprising yourself, okay? But good to know. Good to know. If I had the choice of a great ear player or a great theory player, I'd always go with a great ear player. But some people take that as permission to not learn any theory. Don't do that. If you want to be good at something, learn it. Don't be lazy, okay? And if you're one of those people that think that music theory is going to box you in, then I'd have to sit with you and show you where that's just not true. That's like saying, man, I really want to get good at cooking, but don't show me anything. I'm just going to experiment. Okay, you can do that. It's going to take you a lot longer to find out all the same exact stuff that the chefs could teach you already. And that's what musicians are doing with music theories. They're saying, hey, let me give you a shortcut to what you're going to find naturally, and you're going to say, this is awesome. And just because you came to it on your own, it's good sometimes because you're going to learn a lot of things along the way, but it also takes you a lot longer to get there, okay? Learn music theory, friends. Very important. Okay, great. Thank you for putting question marks, friends. Eric, is the guitar action only gauged at the nut, fretboard section, or at the bridge? What should the correct action height be? Climber, I wish you were with me yesterday because we did a broadcast, or not a broadcast. You might have seen it broadcast on Instagram, but we did a big series talking about all this. Hey, Siri, shush your mouth. Siri thinks I'm talking to her, but I ain't. So there is no correct height. It's what's correct for you. Bluegrass players like their action high. Shredders like their action low. Depends on how hard you're hitting the guitar. Depends if you're hitting more chords or more scales, scalar, single note type of stuff. So there is no right way. And you asking that question the way you did, Climber, I'm not picking on you. I'm just saying there's a lot that you would need to know in regards to that. So many variables. The nut, the frets, is the fretboard pitched right? You know, is it at the right bow? You do that with a truss rod. Don't randomly start screwing around with that thing. Same thing with the bridge, same thing with the saddles. There's like 5 things just off the top of my head that can be adjusted that you can get into some trouble by just noodling with. So take it to a luthier, take it to someone who knows what they're doing. Say, this is how I play. Let them watch you play. If they know what they're doing, they're going to set the guitar up the way it should be. Or you can take about a year and get about be half as good as somebody like that by really digging in for a year and learning this stuff. It's going to take you a while, and you're not going to be as good as those guys that are doing it all the time, okay? Daywalker is saying, what scale would be the BB box be taken out of, and what kind of chord progression would you use over it? Day, the BB scale is, in fact, I just did a video for this. The BB scale is the blues scale, essentially. So you know it already, right? So makes sense. So that's what we're talking about there. That's the BB box, and I just did a video for that too. So that should be coming out pretty soon. My daughter's band name is A Way. I don't know what that means. A dash Way. I've asked her, and she's aloof about it, so I don't know. Some sort of code. Hi, Mike. In your opinion, what are the 3 essential skills to be able to freestyle blues? Okay, are you asking me? I'm assuming me. By Mike, you probably mean me, Eric. In your opinion, what are the 3 essential skills to be able to play freestyle blues? Okay, you got to know at least one form of the blues scale. I would suggest blues form 1 or the BB box, what I was just playing there. By the way, you can get these forms out of the free ebook that's at YourGuitarSage. Just look around on the page, you'll see it. You got to know the blues scale. You got to know the 12-bar blues, like how to understand that. I have videos for all this stuff. You just type in YourGuitarSage blues scale, YourGuitarSage 12-bar blues, YourGuitarSage boogie woogie. That's the other thing you should know. You should know a boogie woogie lick. Okay, we do that with the 12-bar blues and know the blues scale to some degree, at least the BB lick or minimalistic blues, YourGuitarSage minimalistic blues. You're gonna get what you're looking for. Those are the top 3 things I would say to learn. Okay. Do you really need to know how to read music if you are not in an orchestra? Larry is saying. Larry, a lot of guitar players don't know how to read music, and it's not because they're dumb or what have you, like my ex-girlfriend violin player would say all the time. She played in an orchestra. Her job required her to read music, but don't put a 12-bar blues in front of her, because she's not going to be able to improvise to it, and she's not going to be able to do stuff by ear like a great ear player would be able to. Okay, she's a great player nonetheless. She could slay me on any sort of music reading, but nonetheless, reading music is important in an orchestra, right? Because everybody's looking at the same piece of music, and it tells you a lot, whereas tab doesn't tell you as much. But tablature, we typically know the song already. We're just looking for some bits and pieces to fill in. We're looking for the actual frets and scales, right? So do you need to know how to read music? No, typically not. It depends on what you want to do. That's why I say it's so important to know what your why is about playing guitar. If you want to be a studio player, then knowing how to read some music would probably be good, okay? Not as much in Nashville, but like in LA, sometimes the way they score stuff, it would be good to know some music, to know how to read music, indeed. Okay, but other than that, I'd say no. Don't learn how to read music unless you need to. Some people out there are like, "What are you talking about? You should go read music." Okay, you should also study 17 different languages, because what happens if you run into somebody that and there's a lot more. I think there's 160 countries or something. Why don't you just learn all those different languages? Because of time, right? Let's get real. So the way I teach guitar is learn the crap you need to first. Learn the stuff that you need to that's going to take you the furthest. And then if you want to get to all that complex stuff that's only going to bring you that much further, then learn that. But learn the big stuff first. It's called Pareto's rule. Okay? Basically 20% of what you need to know will cover 80% of the bases. Okay? Okay, great. Hershey, I've got a question. That would have been a perfect place to put your question, Hershey, right there. Oh, you did it right afterwards. How can I get better at improvising over a progression without sounding like I'm playing scales? Hershey, great. Here's the deal. Here's a few things I'm going to give you, because there's nothing I'm going to say here that's going to be better than the information I'm going to be giving to you, okay? On YouTube, search YourGuitarSage Minimalistic Blues. Number 1. Also, search YourGuitarSage You're Playing Your Scales Wrong. Okay? Or Scales Wrong, something like that. Because in order to get good at improvisation, Hershey, you have to practice improvisation. But what happens is a lot of times, so somebody out there is going, practice improvisation. Tell us specifically. That's what I'm trying to. Practice improvisation, but you have to take small pieces of the neck. That's hence minimalistic blues, okay? Because if you just say, well, here's the scale, here's the chord progression, go. Yes, you can do that. That's how I learned. But it's much better to have some licks that maybe you've learned from another guitar player, and then to practice a very small part of the neck. If you can't get good at a small part of the neck, you won't get good at a bigger portion of the neck. So Hershey, get good at one small portion of the neck. okay? And you will absolutely understand what you're doing, okay? What are your thoughts on acoustic guitar versus an acoustic electric versus an acoustic only? Mary Beth, it depends on what you want to do. So if you're not going to plug the guitar in, then it doesn't matter, right? You just want a good acoustic sounding guitar. If you're plugging it in, then an acoustic electric is very important. And you want to make sure that that you've got a good pickup. So a lot of standard piezo acoustic pickups don't sound very good, in my opinion. So my favorite one is the LR Bags Anthem, Anthem. It's about a $300 acoustic pickup. It's expensive, but man, that thing sings. It's absolutely amazing. My favorite acoustic pickup. I'm sure there's others out there that are really good, but you know. I wrote two songs years ago. Have lyric ideas for one. Finally adding riffs, lyrics, and want to finalize. Need to write down. Often hear melodies in my head. Does your book show how to notate efficiently? Road Trip, nope, does not teach you how to notate. It's not about notating. If you can play the song, you're done. Most Nashville writers, what they do is they go in and they write a song. And what I mean by write a song, they just play it. They might write the lyrics down, but typically at the end of the day, my wife's writing right now, she's going to write a chord progression with the other writers and lyrics, and at the end of the day, they're going to sing that song into a tape recorder. That's all the notation you need, you know? So no, I do not teach notation because that's a lot of wasted time, and that's not what the pros do anyhow. They don't notate it. With that being said, if you understand the Nashville number system and that sort of thing, then yes, you will be able to notate that. And I do cover that inside of UGS. I teach you how to read charts. If you know how to read charts, then you know how to write charts, okay? Because you're reading, and so you just write it now. Okay, make sense? Steve, am I in a cave? I'm in a cave of sorts, yes. This is what we call the cave, indeed. Okay, Ray is saying, why don't guitar songbooks include strumming patterns? I have 4 different songbooks and not a one offers strumming suggestions. Ray, because most people want to learn very quickly and they don't want to take the time to learn it correctly. So they like quick, but they don't like correct. And so they'll say, is it up, up, down, down, up, up, which is completely wrong. Unless you are learning what is the downbeat, what's the upbeat, what's the and, what's the 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, like I teach in strumming, like I teach in the free course, like I teach in all those courses. So if they said, okay, this is 1, 2 and 4 and, most people are not going to even know what to do with that. Okay, that's the number one reason. And the other reason is because a lot of times that is left to interpretation. So just like when I'm teaching a song on YouTube, it may be a song with no guitar at all, like Hallelujah. Okay, well, there's no strumming pattern because there's no guitar, so one has to interpret that. Does that make sense? So that's the other reason why you're not going to see that written. I'm sure there's other reasons, you know. Okay, Jerry. Jerry's disagreeing, so I want to see what she has to say. Reading music is not hard. Indeed, it's not hard, Jerry. I agree with you. You can learn to read musical notation simultaneously with tab. I agree. There's no such thing as too much knowledge. I agree, Jerry. No, there's no such thing as too much knowledge. But what I am saying, Jerry, is learn things in order. And it's really, really important to know why you're learning something. So what I'm saying is don't go down the trail of reading music if you don't have a need to read music. And I know this, Jerry, by firsthand experience because I did learn to read music. I know how to read music, but since I don't do it every day, I'm not good at it. And it's one of those things that if you don't keep up with it, you are not going to be good at it. So if you're not going to take the time to delve into it and keep up with it, why are you learning it? It's kind of like learning a language. If you took a year or two to learn it and then you never spoke it, well, you're going to forget everything. So if you're not using it all the time, I'm saying you're probably doing something else, meaning you should probably emphasize your time and your energy focusing on some other area of guitar, Jerry. So that's all I'm saying. I think reading music is fabulous if you need it. But if you don't, then why are you learning it? That's what I'm saying. Does that make sense? But if you want to learn music, I wrote a book on it. So it's not that I don't believe in reading music. I know how to read music and I wrote a book on it. So that should tell you, Jerry, that I do think that reading music is important if you need it. I went the first I don't know, 7 years of my playing and never needing to read music because I was using my ear, I was using music theory, I was using shapes and patterns, never needed to read music. I didn't need to read music until I went in as a music major in college, I should say, not 7 years, it was probably about 4 years later. So, with that being said, I got by with 4 years. The only reason I needed to read music was because I was reading sheet music because I was a classical guitar major. But after that, I stopped doing it again, okay? Okay, so any tricks or tips on getting picking and finger hands in sync when building speed for scales and lead? Kirk, yes. Take things very slowly because speed is a byproduct of accuracy. You will never be fast before you're accurate. Accuracy will always be your goal. And if you're concentrating on speed, number one, it's elusive and it will always be further away from you than you want it to be, and you'll just get frustrated. But accuracy you can do right now, okay? So focus on accuracy, get accurate, and then once you're accurate at something, start turning up the heat as far as speed. But don't try to focus on accuracy or speed first. It's just going to lead to frustration. Accuracy you can attain right away, and you'll be able to see your progress. But speed without accuracy doesn't count. That's called sloppy, right? We don't want to do that. So focus on accuracy. Does that help? Okay, when recording what recording software do you use when recording songs? Can you recommend good free ones? Yes, GarageBand is absolutely amazing. And then if you want to go up from that, Logic. That's what I'm using now. I was using Pro Tools, in fact, used that for many years, and it's just not as easy as Logic is, or a GarageBand. So GarageBand is probably just for Mac, but nonetheless, that's a great one. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, what is the difference between 365 and UGS course, and how do they differ from your free videos available on YouTube? I've already gone through the free 30 video course. Thanks. Okay, subskip. Subskip. Well, subskip, first off, you better sub to me and not skip my sub. Okay, so number one, most of the videos that are on YouTube are song videos. Most. Probably 3/4 of them are song videos. The other 25% would be like music theory, YGS Guitar Lessons, which is another channel. A lot of music is all music theory. Stuff on YourGuitarSage is a lot of songs, probably 75% songs, and then some music theory. So there's that. How 365 and UGS are premium courses where if I'm going to explain a subject, I'm going to deep dive. You're going to learn every little bit and piece about it, to where if I'm putting something on YouTube like the cage system, I may teach the cage system, but I'm not going to teach it with dominant chords, minor seventh chords, major seven chords, minor chords. I'm not going to go down deep dive like that when I have customers that are really serious about learning guitar and they're paying that premium price. I need to provide that solid extra stuff for them, if that makes sense, okay? But that's what UGS is. So basically any stuff that I teach on YouTube, I deep dive into in UGS. And in fact, UGS has a lot of stuff that you won't even find on YouTube. Nearly 1,000 videos if we're including the Guitar 365 plan. UGS, you could think about, it's called the Unstoppable Guitar System. You could think about it as like your one-on-one teacher, because literally in those courses, I'm answering questions every day for folks one-on-one. They ask me a question, I answer it right then and there, right within the course. So it's like you're having your one-on-one teacher, and it's a step-by-step process. You have a beginner section, intermediate, advanced section. You've got music theory, you've got technique, you've got so much stuff. Okay, that's UGS, and it's step by step. It's in mini courses that are in bigger courses, etc. 365 is 365 guitar plan. You can check all this stuff out right now if you don't want to, if you don't care about what I'm saying right now. For $1, you can check it out, YourGuitarSage.com/1. Okay, 365, YourGuitarSage 365 is basically, I've divided the week up into 7 days. I didn't do this, but I divided it into 7 focuses over those 7 days, and we divide that into 52 weeks. So we start very simple the first week, and over 52 weeks, we slowly crank up the heat. So by the end of a year, you're slaying it, okay? You are rocking, socks out, you know what I'm saying? That's the difference between the two. Does that help? Can anyone recommend a good theory book? There you go. There's a question for somebody. Tom, the way I'm sure there's some great theory books out there, but the most important thing about music theory is learning the stuff that you absolutely need to know at first, and leaving out the stuff that you're not going to need to know for a long time. Listen, friends, I know that advanced stuff. I teach it inside UGS. I'm not poo-pooing it. I'm just saying, if a math teacher was going to a kindergartner, essentially, if you're new to guitar, you're the kindergartner, even if you're 50 or 60 or 80. You're learning something for the first time, okay? So if you're 80 years old and you've never been taught math, we're gonna have to think about it like you're 5, right? It's the same thing. We're new principles or teaching a language or anything like that. So in the same way, a new player should not learn certain music theory before they learn the simpler music theory, just like a math teacher is not going to start off with calculus with a kindergartner, even if that kindergartner is super smart. We have to start somewhere, okay? We got to learn with the easy stuff first, and then we build up from there. So whatever you get, if it's a book, if it's a course or anything, just make sure that they're teaching it in the right order, because if not, you're going to get confused, and you're going to think that you need to learn something that maybe you didn't need to learn, okay? Well, I'll be teaching string bending. Not in this course, Stephen, but I do teach it. Now, Stephen, you're inside UGS, right? Because we've talked a lot. Stephen, inside of UGS, search bending. And I have videos for that, okay? Do you ever mess around with alternate tunings? Very rarely. I do drop D a little bit, but not very much. I'm still trying to learn standard tuning. So until then, I will be learning standard tuning. Okay, why do you need to learn scales and what's the purpose of it? Serdar, it's basically patterns, okay? So you need them if you're going to play melodies. You don't really have to have them. You could use your ear, but they're very, very helpful to have those scales. They're basically patterns, okay? So in essence, you're learning the fingerprint of music, okay? That's why it's so important. How do you improvise phrasing differently from each other, and do you need to study them separately? Improvisation and phrasing, it's essentially the same thing. Improvisation, you can think about, is when you're making things up on the fly. So I had a general idea of what I was going to talk about today, but I didn't practice all this last night, so I'm improvising, right? But I have an idea. Same thing when you're getting up on stage and you're improvising. You're not just making crap up. You know the key, you know the vibe, you know the scale, those patterns, you're doing that, okay? So we're not just completely making stuff up. It would sound terrible, right? And phrasing is a smaller portion of that, if you will. It's just taking things, melodic sentences, if you will, and making phrases out of them. So instead of just playing through our scales like this, instead of doing that, we're going. Make sense? Okay. What good program to make drum tracks? GarageBand's great. It's super easy. Is there a program that pulls out the guitar parts of a song so that you can play along with or study? John is saying. Yes. In fact, I use this inside of 365. We use a few different programs. One called Tux Guitar, which is free, and Guitar Pro, which is more expensive, maybe 50 or 70 bucks. I own both of them, and I like Guitar Pro more. And basically then you can download tabs from, say, like ultimate-guitar.com. You can download those and you will get the different parts broken out. Super, super fun to do. Okay, would you recommend as necessary, what would you recommend as necessary basics of music theory? I have a video for this, but I'm going to tell you about it really quickly, Greg. You need to know the notes across the fretboard. And basically, this is all stuff that I'm teaching you free in the course. Okay, YourGuitarSage.com/30. Okay, this is stuff that I'll be teaching you. Why? Because it's the most important stuff. You got to learn it in the beginning. So, got to learn all the notes on the fretboard. I have a real easy method for doing that. You need to learn springboards, which we went over today. There's stationary, there's movable. You got to know like your basic open chords. You got to know the construction of the major scale. You have to know how to play a major scale outside of just the construction. I go over that in that as well. like literally, if I just gave you 5 things, those would be the 4 or 5 things that I would say, learn those, and it's going to get you so much mileage. You're not even going to believe it. Okay. Now, if you really want to deep dive and get into all that other complex stuff, we can do it. But please, please, please let me save you a ton of time. I was going to say a curse word there, but I won't. It's a family show. Let me save you a schnit ton of time by saying, if you don't learn the right stuff in order, you are wasting your time. You can do it. You're not going to break anything, but you're just going to be wasting time. And I don't know about you, but I'd love to have more time. So learn stuff in order. Those things that I just told you, if you learn those things first, you're going to be learning so much stuff. Don't get in this mindset of, well, if it's complex, it's going to help me. You know why? You know how I know to not be that guy? Because I was that guy. I used to think, this is painful. I'm just playing this, and this is painful, and this is taking me so long. This is so hard to learn, so it must be good. Not necessarily, okay? If you're learning all your jazz modes and all the different keys, and you're not a jazz player, it's not going to help you. You're not using jazz modes in all these different genres for the most part. You might dabble in them, but you're not. There's no need to learn all this music theory when it comes to modes and what mode's going to work over what chord. If you're doing that, it's going to sound just like jazz. That's why jazz sounds like the way it sounds like. It's because it's very juxtaposed and broken up, because you're playing on top of the chord as opposed to blues and rock and pop and stuff like that, where you're sticking to a single melody for the most part over a single chord progression that matches very cohesively. Okay? All right. Good stuff. Okay? Crawl, walk, and run. Thank you, Jerry. Indeed, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about theories. Start crawling first, then walk, then run. Don't go to the real advanced stuff first. No badge of honor there, my friends, especially if you quit. Your question keeps on getting deleted today. What are you saying, Rahan? That it should be deleted? We don't delete anything unless you're saying something crazy. Could you please play the 1-4-5 and explain it in short? Okay, so the 1-4-5 again is basically if we're taking, let's take the scale here real quick. The major scale, teach this in the free course. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Right? So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got 1-4-5. So if we take and base our chords off that, in this case, these are all major chords, because major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. Back to 1 again. So the 1 and the 4 and the 5 are all major chords. So major, G major, C major, D major. So 1, 4, 5, 1, 4, 5, 1. Or if you are the Ramones, it's, and if you're country, that's going to be something different, a different feel, but it's basically the same chords all the time. So you can move that around. Here we are in the key of G. If I wanted to do it in the key of A, I just move it up. Everything moves up a whole step. Everything. But what about everything? It's everything moves up, okay? I get that all the time. I'll say everything, and they'll say, yeah, but what about everything? Make sense? Okay, looking for those question marks. I've been told that tone is in the fingers. How do you go about improving their tone? People say that a lot, and there's a small amount of truth to this, okay? There's a lot of things that go into tone, and some people like to be very lofty and say it's all in the fingers, okay? I tell you what, I'm going to plug you into a crap amp, a crap guitar into a crap amp with a crap chord with rusty strings, and you tell me how much your fingers are going to produce that Gilmore tone, okay? Hush your mouth. It has more to do with the amp and the guitar that you're going through. It has something to do with the fingers, indeed. Because if I took Eddie Van Halen and set him up on this, it's going to sound like Eddie playing through not his guitar and not his amp, okay? So, but with that being said, Hershey, the short answer is practice. How to go about improving your tone with your fingers. It's just practice, okay? But don't get too caught up on that phrase. When people say stuff like that, it's kind of like there's some degree of truth to it, right? Because if I'm pressing down, if I'm not bending my strings correctly, and I'm going like if I'm playing some blues, you know, and I'm kind of bending these terrible bends and stuff, well then that's in the fingers, but the tone of what I'm doing is the same. You know? How do you make up a chord progression? Serdar. It's helpful if you know a little bit of music theory, but if you don't know any music theory, then you just make one up, and it typically sounds like crap. So watch the video I just put up there about the #1 chord progressions used in all times. Watch that one for all the chords you're ever going to need to know to play some great songs. I'm having difficulty asking the electric from acoustic guitar. Are they very different, or is it just me? Rehan. No, it's not just you. They're very different. The electric guitar and the acoustic are pretty different, you know. Can I still use your fingertips if my name is Geffen? Can I still use your fingertips if my name is Geffen? There's so many things about that question that I'm curious about. Can you use my fingertips if your name is Geffen? I'm going to just say yeah, but I don't know what that means, so I'm sorry. I'd like to help you. If you can maybe tweak that one a little bit, Red Phoenix. There may be a joke in there too, and I'm just an idiot and I'm missing it. But if you could tweak that, if that's a serious thing, then please, yeah, let me know. 9 Fathoms, Best Friend's Girl, that's what it was. Except I think they do it in F. You know? There's some smoke on the water from Michael. Okay. All right, good. Logic. Yeah, Logic is the name of that. Can you play Smoke on the Water? Just did. Okay, will you please repeat recording program name besides GarageBand? Logic. Logic. Reaper is pretty cool, and it's only like $60. I don't know that one. Please show me some examples with today's 145 material. Climber, I think I did enough. You're gonna have to get specific if you want me to do something more, because I don't know specifically what you're talking about. Like, what do you mean more? Robert Johnson, B.B. King, they just played what they had. Low action, new strings. To them, it was a luxury. Indeed. Is the posture and stance of playing an acoustic and electric different as well? No, it's not. It's really gonna be the same. Okay, bumping over to Facebook here really quickly. I'm going to get to some questions. About Ariel saying about your course recently on Udemy. Is it different than UGS? Should I also sign up for your free course? Ariel, here's what I would suggest that you do, because I could tell you a lot of info. I could go in for 10 minutes and tell you about the differences between UGS and Udemy, and I'm going to bore a lot of folks. Okay, I have a video for this out there. If you search YourGuitarSage Udemy Unstoppable. But with that said, it's an old video, so it doesn't even cover what's in there now. Basically, Udemy is a fraction of what's happening in the Unstoppable guitar system. Ariel, what I would suggest you doing is this. Check out either the free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30. Start there to get a basic idea of the course. But if you're probably beyond that, what I would say is get into the Unstoppable guitar system. And friends, there's one way to do this, YourGuitarSage.com/1. Okay? Literally go to that URL. You can check out UGS for 30 days and all of 365. Okay, so it's like 1,000 videos, 1,000 lessons, 600 jam tracks, live broadcasts, not here, but private, more private than this. And that will give you an idea, and you can say, oh man, okay, so he's got the jam tracks, he's got way more videos, he's doing live broadcasts, real responsive with the emails like right away, those sorts of things. Give you a better idea, but essentially it's a ton more material, it constantly grows, live broadcasts, a lot more videos, jam tracks, I could keep going. That's going to be the basic difference. Does the cage system always require the use of bar chords? Ken, it does unless one of those chords is open, but that's it. Okay. Who should see this video? Share it with them so they can watch too. Who should see this? Anybody? Oh, sorry, that's a message from Facebook. A generic message from Facebook. Thank you. What's the difference between the bridge and the chorus? Richard's saying the chorus of a song is typically the name of the song. So like, every breath you take, every love you make, right? And the bridge is that, since you're gone, I've been lost without a trace, right? The bridge is that section. It typically only occurs one time in the song, whereas the chorus appears typically close to the beginning of the song, and then another time, and then typically a third and fourth time. There's repeats of the chorus. It's the big part. It's the loud part. It's the rise. So that's the difference between the two. You can almost always find the title of the song in there. Okay. Okay, I'm looking on Facebook and just looking for question marks. Is the little sister as good as the day you got it now? Has it had time to settle? No, I love this guitar, Tony, and everybody that sees it and plays it is just like, this is cool. It's kind of its own duck. So indeed, I absolutely love it. Okay. Fiona, UGS is amazing. Still hoping to get a lifetime membership. Okay, Fiona and I talk daily inside of UGS. So, hey, Fiona. Okay. Thank you, Jim and Austin. Yes, here's the deal. A military discount. I actually give the program for free to veterans, okay, or military. We're going to be doing this on Veterans Day, okay? So be sticking around if you would like. If you're a veteran, we have a way to do this to qualify you, obviously. Otherwise, everybody says they're a veteran, right? So with that being said, we have thousands of veterans in the program from the last few years that we've done this. So on Veterans Day, we do a big celebration and we give away the Unstoppable Guitar System 365, that $400 course. We give that as a way of saying thank you to our veterans for your bravery and putting your lives on the line for us and the work and everything else. So thank you so much, Jim, for that. That's super kind. Okay, if you use the movable 145 box patterns you showed, does it also mean that you can replace the 4 with a flat 3 and move it around that way? Yeah, indeed. All the other notes work the same way. Why I'm saying to know where the 145 is at all the time is you're always one note away from all the other notes. We're always one scale note away. Think about it. If you're on the 1, the 2 and the 6 are right next to it, right? If you're on the 4, the 3 is right behind it. If you're at the 5, the 6 is right in front of it. So that's all 7 notes in the scale. If you know where the 145 is at all times, you're only one scale note away from all the other notes. Super cool, right? Okay. How to make up licks using the 145. You make them up. Like literally, you make them up. You just start experimenting. I mean, just the essence of your question there, Richard. How do I make up? You make up. You do it. Because if you're copying me, then you're just copying what I'm doing. So you have to just sit there with that and just sit there and noodle around with those different patterns until you go, hey, that sucked. Hey, that sucked. Hey, that sucked. Hey, that wasn't bad. Hey, that was really good. I'll keep that one. I'll remember that one. The suck ones, you want to forget about those. The ones that are kind of good, you want to develop those. And the ones that are great, you want to keep those and practice those a lot. Austin, was a great video. Learning from you, man. Keep on keeping on, and I have a hard time getting my fretting hand to keep up any good exercises. Austin, yes, I have. Oh, let's see, 25, 26. I can have like 20, at least 26 exercises inside of the free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30. So get those there. So I show you the one, and then I show you how to break that out into like 24 others, and then I've got other exercises for you too. So what did I say? Did I say 16? No, it's like maybe 27 different exercises in there. Okay, so check that out. It's in the free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30. Do Cage System and Minimalistic Blues use the same patterns? Similar, yes. Okay, good. I think I got to most of those questions there. Let me check the last few here, leaving Facebook for a minute and getting to YouTube again. Okay, okay, no question there, no question. Just looking for question marks. Okay, and we answered the bridge part of the song, right? That appears typically after the solo or the second chorus, sometimes the third chorus. And some songs do not have a bridge. For example, Hey Jude. Never thought about that. Yeah, Hey Jude does not. All right, good, good, good. Ben, yeah, hang out for the Veterans Day. I'll get you set up, my friend. And let your veteran friends know, let your military friends know too. That's what we love to do this, to give stuff away. We love to honor those that are, I mean, that's why we do giveaways as well. For folks that have shared this, that's why for folks that have shared this, we look for a winner every day. We love doing just all different types of giveaways. Did I tell you I'm going to go get a new guitar today from Groon for the next giveaway on the 29th? Mark it in your calendar, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Do you prefer changing scales with each chord or staying on relative minor throughout the song? It depends on the song, but what I do is I like to mainly stick to a particular scale and or key over a chord progression with a little bit of dabbling into if the new chord brings a new note or two to the chord progression and to the scheme of my scale and everything else, then a lot of times I will exploit those couple of notes. Okay. I was going to go into an example, but we won't do that today. Nonetheless, I do that because if you do it too much, it starts sounding very disjunct. Like, oh, hey, I know this chord is here, and I'm going to tell you with my guitar. And so sometimes it can be a little obnoxious. If you don't do it at all, then it doesn't sound like you're just chasing the chord the whole time. But it also sounds like you could have maybe played a better note. So I like to dabble with it. I like to throw that every now and then. I like to steal one of those notes from the chord every now and then. Does that make sense? If you want to emulate a particular musician, BB King SRV, what's a good way to pick up on them? Richard, great question. I'll answer that, and then I'm heading over to YouTube. A great way to emulate them is to practice their songs. Really drill down and focus in on the licks, the chords, specifically the way they're doing it, okay? I've mentioned this before. If I'm learning something from Brian Setzer or some other guitar player who thinks differently than me, then I might go, oh, that's crazy. Why would you ever play it that way? And then, what usually happens is I go, man, that's really cool. I'm gonna play it like that from now on, okay? Or play this, bring something new to my playing. So bottom line is emulating, right? If you want to emulate the way someone talks, you emulate the way they talk. You listen to them. You listen to all their little nuances, and then you try to copy it. Then you listen to them again. You try to copy it again. So you're going to want to do the same thing, but with the guitar, okay? Rod, what I missed about the veterans? Can you repeat that? I do qualify? Yes, Rod. On Veterans Day, my friend, what we like to do is we like to give that away to veterans. Okay, so you're going to hear more about that on Veterans Day. So we give that course away. Okay. Okay, great question. Do vets have to wait for the Veterans Day for the discount, sub-skip? It's not a discount. We literally will give you the whole course because that's how much we love you. But yes, we'll be doing that on Veterans Day. And that's coming up, right? Isn't it? Just came in. Would you please show what you're talking about? Okay, English. I'll just repeat all of that, okay? No. Got to show up on time, my friend. How does the musical, but I love you. I do, I promise, English. I do love you. But you're going to have to watch it over again. How does the musical staff show the notes way up on the high E string? So what happens is, Bob, is that you will have something that'll say like 8 oct, or it'll say like octave, and it's basically like if it's a section that's higher up on the neck, then it'll kind of have like this little bit that's over it or underneath it, and you'll know that those notes are the same notes, you know. You'll know that it's up here, okay? Great question, Bob. Okay. Where are we at time-wise? Okay, we're going to go for about 9 more minutes, my friends, and then we're going to head on out. I usually practice playing my guitar sitting down. Should I also practice standing up as well? Hershey, only if you're going to stand up. If you're not going to stand up, don't worry about practicing standing up. This is why I always say, guys, it's really, really important. You guys got to hear me when I say this, because some people take it the wrong way. And if you take it the wrong way, number one, you're going to make an idiot out of yourself. Number two, you're not going to get the information that I'm trying to get to you, and you're going to misunderstand what I'm saying. You're going to think I'm saying something I'm not. 3 really bad things, okay? So what I say is, figure out what your why is about why it is that you're playing guitar. If you're playing on stage and you're standing up, you better be practicing standing up, because if you're practicing sitting down all the time, here comes your gig and you're standing up, you're going to be, that one variable is going to throw you off. But if you're not, why do you need to practice standing up? If you need to read music in what it is that you're doing, if there's a need for reading music in what it is that you're doing, then by all means, read music. Otherwise, you'll be filling your time up with reading music, and you're not actually reading music when you're actually playing or have a need for it, okay? So focus on the things that you need to better yourself in your goals, in what you're trying to do. And everybody here is different, okay? We're also unique and diverse. It's true. I say that jokingly, but it's true. We are. I usually practice playing my guitar. Okay, we've been over that one, right? Sure. We did that one. Yeah, listen what Darkus says. If you never practice standing up, then no matter how good you get, when you stand up to play it will throw you off. It really does. Practice with eyes closed. That helps too. Yep. Whoa, you described the cage system? I do, Paulo. It's in the PDF. So folks, Instagram's probably turned off by now, but we do have Facebook. We do have YouTube, folks. Friends, if you haven't already, download the PDF that's in the description of the video, because we're using it today. We're also going to use it tomorrow for the part 2 of this, okay? I'm going to show you the cage system tomorrow, and I'm going to show you about how to use your capo, because with the bits that we learned today and the cage system and using your capo, all this stuff's going to come together. It's like we've broken a piece of glass that needed to be broken, and all the pieces are scattered, and we're bringing them together. Maybe not glass, maybe like, I don't know, a treasure chest, and we're gathering up all the gems and jewels and everything. We're bringing them together because they're going to be ours, okay? So today we covered that stuff, the stuff that's in the PDF, the stuff that's in the free course, the stuff that we're going to be covering tomorrow. I got you covered, okay? There's no lack of information that I'm giving you. It just requires you to dig in and to hang with me a little bit as we're doing these things. So we have a part 1 and a part 2. You got to join me for part 2. You ain't going to get the information, right? Okay? What can you recommend to force yourself out of a rut? Richard, there's lots of different things, but learn a new song. Every time you learn a new song, you're going to be learning new licks, new chords, new ways of doing things. So learn a new song, always. Do you have input on which sounds better, acoustic with pickup or using a mic up to the guitar? Road trip, depends on the pickup. I have an LR Baggs Anthem. I've told you about this. It's $299. It's an expensive pickup, but if I put my most expensive mics in front of my guitar, or I plug that guitar in straight, because the pickup actually has a mic built into it, the sound is better just plugged in than with my big fancy microphones. Okay, 2 mics and all. So, depends on what kind of pickup you have. Most pickups, most acoustic pickups, you're always going to be better putting a microphone on the guitar, even if that microphone sucks, because you're getting the actual sound of the guitar. Piezo pickups, which are in the bridge, are getting the vibration of the string, not so much the sound of the guitar. So you can have a $100,000 acoustic guitar, and it's going to sound as good as a $100 guitar for the most part if you got a crappy pickup, because it's only picking the vibration up. It's not picking up the wood and everything. I mean, it is essentially, but not like you think it is. It's not going to sound very good, okay? That's a great question. Lots of great questions today, friends. All right, we got, how many minutes do we have here? 4? 4 minutes. Get to just a couple. We'll get to just a couple more, okay? A few things before, yeah, I'll tell you right now, and then we'll take our last questions. We'll do our 4 minutes. Real quickly, 29th, write it down, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. What is it that I'm going to be teaching you? I forgot. We just came up with the subject matter, and I've forgotten off the top of my head, so it really doesn't matter. Nonetheless, we're gonna be going deep diving like we always do. It's usually the lesson's usually an hour. We usually give away like $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000 worth of goodies, and then we do Q&A. And when I say $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000, I don't mean Monopoly money. I mean real dollar money, guitars and everything. Today I'm going down to Gruen and getting a new Fender Strat. Not new. In fact, it looks, if I get the one that I'm looking for, it looks almost identical to my 65 Strat. So I thought that would be special, right? Probably not going to give away my 65 Strat yet, but you could have one that looks just like one that I've got. So we'll see. I'll let you know about that if that happens. So make sure you write that down, 29th, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. On Wednesdays and Thursdays, we almost always do these live broadcasts at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, so make sure that you join us for that, okay? Usually a different subject every week. YourGuitarSage.com/live. The free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30. For the whole enchilada to test drive the whole system, YourGuitarSage.com/1. Share this video today for a chance to win a lifetime membership to UGS 365. Veterans, join us for Veterans Day. That's coming up. I don't know how far out it is. I know it's coming up though. Okay. Okay, let's get to some other questions here. Recommendations for looper pedals. I like, I've got like 3 of them. I like the TC Electronic Ditto. It's a real easy one to use. I've got one built into my Kemper amp, so that's what I'm using right now. But it's a great, affordable, small, great looper pedal. When first learning, do you suggest nailing one song, then adding another, or having multiple songs, each needing work? Scott, great question. Scott, if you don't get too bored of that one song, like if it's keeping you interested, then stay on one song. But there's this balance where you want to remain passionate about what you're doing. So you may have to change it up to a new song. The most important thing is passion. If you got the passion there, it's going to get you picking up the guitar all the time. So if you are on this song and you're like, no, Eric told me I need to finish it and I hate this song now, then that's not going to get you to pick up the guitar all the time. So make sure you're passionate whatever you're doing. If you're still passionate about song 1, then do it, okay? Otherwise, you need to bring in another song, then do that. That's more important, is to keep up with what you're doing, okay? How do you approach your major scale modal playing? Do you use the scale shapes at all, or do you just follow the chords? Laszlo is saying. Laszlo. So I do both, and what I find is that oftentimes it's much easier just to follow the chord and say, well, what's this new chord? If it's a chord that falls outside of the key signature, if there's a note that it brings that's outside the key signature, then what I'll say is, well, what note is that? Or at best, it may be 2 notes. Okay, what are those 2 notes? And I'll just make sure that I include 1 or 2 of those notes in a phrase along with some of the other notes, and then I'm playing modally, right? Otherwise, you can think about all the different shapes, but then it starts sounding very mechanical, like this widget goes on this widget chord, and we don't want to do that. We want to sound like we're speaking, okay? Yes, okay, you're so welcome, Terry. All right, friends, I think we're at the 1 p.m. Central Standard Time mark. Thank you so much, my friends, for joining me today. For our Carolina folks, we're thinking of you. Get the heck out of there, and if not, then batten down the hatches. I'm from Central Florida, where we've seen many hurricanes. I grew up with them a lot, did a lot of evacuations, and a lot of riding some storms out. You know which ones to ride out, and you know which ones not to ride out. So, and the ones that are questionable, you don't ride out. You just get out of there, just in case they get crazy, right? Ask the Keys, my favorite place to visit. Okay, so love you guys. Thank you so much. Great questions today. Thanks for playing all out. You know what to do. Get the PDF right now if you haven't already. It's in the description of the video. You got the free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30. If you don't do anything today other than grab that PDF, then the only other thing that you should at least be doing is going to this URL. Okay, and if you've been through that, because this is a free course and it's the top 30 lessons, my friends, if you haven't taken advantage of this, once you go through it, and please, anybody who's through this right now, please give your testimony right now, whether on Facebook or YouTube. Let other folks know if this helped you. you know, let them know, because they won't know it unless you say it. Some people don't like to believe it when it's coming from the person who created something, but I promise you, this is going to change your life when it comes to guitar. And it just so happens to be absolutely 100% free. If you've been through this, right, check out the $1 fee for test driving the entire Unstoppable Guitar System, YourGuitarSage.com/1. That guy right there. Okay, that's it, my friends. Love you. Thank you so much for spending time with me, and I'll see you in the next video. We got some new ones coming, so I'll see you.